area of quality education, healthcare, and climate change.
And of course, there is this girl. She is a Swedish girl, a 14-year-old teenager, and of course, she has really taken the world by storm. Her comments at the Senate Climate Crisis Task Force, that is yesterday, have gone viral. And of course, she made a lot of claims. She demanded for swift action to be taken. And the one thing that she really said that just made a lot of sense is that climate change is happening, and it is not a dream. It is not a nightmare. It is reality. So let's listen into what she said in her remarks ahead of this particular briefing, where she talked amongst leaders, and of course this is to try and make a change during the 74th UN Annual Summit. Take a look.
My message is that we'll be watching you. This is all wrong. I shouldn't be up here. I should be back in school on the other side of the ocean. Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words, and yet I'm one of the lucky ones. People are suffering. People are dying. Entire ecosystems are collapsing. We are in the beginning of a mass extinction, and all you can talk about is money and fairy tales of eternal economic growth. How dare you? For more than 30 years, the science has been crystal clear. How dare you continue to look away and come here saying that you're doing enough when the politics and solutions needed are still nowhere in sight? You say you hear us and that you understand the urgency. But no matter how sad and angry I am, I do not want to believe that. Because if you really understood the situation and still kept on failing to act, then you would be evil, and that I refuse to believe. The popular idea of cutting our emissions in half in 10 years only gives us a 50% chance of staying below 1.5 degrees and the risk of setting off irreversible chain reactions beyond human control. 50% may be acceptable to you, but those numbers do not include tipping points, most feedback loops, additional warming hidden by toxic air pollution, or the aspects of equity and climate justice. They also rely on my generation sucking hundreds of billions of tons of your CO2 out of the air with technologies that barely exist. So a 50% risk is simply not acceptable to us, we who have to live with the consequences. To have a 67% chance of staying below a 1.5 degrees of global temperature rise, the best odds given by the IPCC, the world had 420 gigatons of CO2 left to emit back on January 1st, 2018. Today, that figure is already down to less than 350 gigatons. How dare you pretend that this can be solved with just business as usual and some technical solutions? With today's emissions levels, that remaining CO2 budget will be entirely gone within less than 8.5 years. There will not be any solutions or plans presented in line with these figures here today, because these numbers are too uncomfortable, and you are still not mature enough to tell it like it is. You are failing us, but the young people are starting to understand your betrayal. The eyes of all future generations are upon you. And if you choose to fail us, I say we will never forgive you. will not let you get away with this. Right here, right now, is where we draw the line. The world is waking up, and change is coming whether you like it or not. Thank you.
Wow, powerful is all I have to say with regards to what she said. That's Greta Thunberg. She is a Swedish environmentalist, and of course she really did make an impact with her speech and her words. By the way, just in case you did not know, she's going to be leading adults and children from 150 countries to protest against climate change and of course to demand for action to be taken.
Over the weekend, all the way into the week, we've seen pockets of protests across the world. The agenda is action on climate change, and of course the slogan has been they will die of old age. Those are the leaders. They will die of old age and we will die of climate change. It therefore begs what way forward. The UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres is expected to address this particular issue. It's part and parcel of the theme of the 74th UN General Assembly that is currently ongoing in New York. The general debate commences today. Interesting to look into what will be forming the quality or informing the quality of debate that we shall be getting forth from New York this day.
And President Kenyatta will also be a part of it today, of course. It is Wednesday. So yes, all that is something that we're going to be looking into later on. But for now, let's look at what's trending on social media. The hashtag is K24 Daily Brief. And of course, you can find us on our Twitter page as well at K24 TV. Interact with us. And for now, let's get right into it and tell you what's been making the buzz on social media and what are the top trending hashtags of the day. This one is WhatsApp admins. Of course, now this is with regard to the fact that Facebook and WhatsApp group administrators will be soon required to obtain licenses from the Communications Authority of Kenya. So that has really caused an outroar on social media, and let's get into what you've been saying with regards to this. We've got a stylist who says voters lamenting come 2022 Kenyans will still repeat the same mistake. We've got another one there from @7s Akama who says whoever came up with such an idea, please dump it in the nearest dustbin. Say no to premature. And we've got another one there from Barack Otieno who goes on to say that there are better things that they can discuss in Parliament, like offering mandatory free cancer treatment, but to them it is all about taxes. And pretty much I guess that is what people are saying, that what is the agenda behind this? Why exactly will WhatsApp and Facebook group admins be required to get licenses just to express their views and of course for freedom of speech? Does that really exist anymore? We've got another one there from Kagodo David who says nobody should infringe on our right of expression under Chapter 4, Article 11 of our Constitution. The motion is invalid. We've got another one there from @Muindi who goes on to say, why don't they go and tax the company itself for operating in Kenya? Pesa yetu si yenu. Pretty much what the feel is with regards to this particular topic, and of course with regards to what is happening currently on Twitter. We've got @iDavy who goes on to say, who will affect this? Perhaps the network provider. Aren't Kenyans overtaxed already? And the pathetic thing is that they will go ahead to loot the same tax. So quite, frustrations that are being echoed and being relayed on social media platforms. We've got Ramadan who says, do you think that the government is lacking enough revenue? They are lacking good governance. Another one there from Ray who says, pass bills that jails and fines corrupt government officials. That would help Kenyans more. These leaders are joking. So yes, the blame game continues as to why exactly this is necessary. We've got another one there from @Magdalene Jerry who says, priorities in this country, they are so misplaced. And the last one for the day, that is from @Papa who says, really, it is okay to demand licenses for businesses, but social networks? Yep, that is the question that has really flocked social media, and everyone is asking the same question. Why is this necessary? So we are going to keep interacting with this particular story and many more right here on K24 TV as we tell you what's trending and what you've been talking about on social media.
Right, and of course, as you share your feedback, kindly note that the show is rated GE. We need to move on to other issues, but that is a very critical area. And as much as people may have, opinions in as far as what is happening around the declaration of interest by WhatsApp and Facebook administrators, to some level of extent, I understand where Honorable Injendi is coming from. Have you ever woken up one morning and wondered how did you end up in 70 WhatsApp groups? Really?
Those are the words of a frustrated man from WhatsApp groups, because...
Let's move on to Parliament. Let's move on to Parliament. The agenda, the in-tray of Parliament this morning is quite packed. Being a Wednesday, we expect various issues to find their way to the floor of the House. And right now is notices of motion on various bills that are supposed to be discussed on the floor of the House. So let's cross over and listen into the National Assembly sittings as of today.
The age of 6 years. This House urges the national government, through the Ministries of Education and Research, in collaboration with other relevant actors, to introduce, institutionalize, and entrench sex education in both primary and secondary school curriculum, and ensure that it is beyond policy and legal framework, and encourage the development and building of more boarding schools, especially for girls. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Very well. The next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, the first question is by the Honorable Michael Mushira, member for Oljoro. Member for Oljoro, the mic to your left. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 409 of 2019 to the Cabinet Secretary for Transport, Infrastructure, Housing and Urban Development. Are there plans to rehabilitate Gilgil Nyahururu Road, which is in a very bad condition and which may have led to an increase in the number of motor vehicle accidents on the road in the recent past? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
This question will be replied to before the Departmental Committee on Transport, Public Works and Housing. The next question is by the Honorable Martha Wangari, member for Gilgil.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to ask question number 411 of 2019. What measures are in place to ensure implementation of the harmonized salaries for the 1,774 graduate police officers in the country, in line with the declarations and orders in petition number 122 of 2018, dated 17th May 2019, by the Employment and Labor Relations Court sitting in Nairobi?
This question will be replied before the Departmental Committee on Administration and National Security by the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and Coordination of National Government. The next question is by the Honorable Simon Kingara, member for Ruiru.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. On behalf of Ruiru people, Mohawk Award, I stand to ask question number 412. 2019, directed to the Cabinet Secretary for Lands and Physical Planning. 1. What is the registration status of land under LR numbers Ruiru/Q/4/1205, 1378, 1380, 1381?
And the order of events in the National Assembly has shifted from motion to ordinary questions. And key among the questions that have been posed, Shiksha, is that response that we've always gotten from our viewers in All Kalau about rehabilitation of various roads. And you can see that question has been tabled by the MP Oljororok constituency, and it has been referred to the Departmental Committee on Transport and Public Works, having been raised as a question to the Cabinet Secretary, Transport and Infrastructure.
All right, for now, we're going to be going to Kisumu, where earlier on our reporter had mentioned that there's fire that raised down the businesses of many marketers, and of course,
KIBUYE Market.
KIBUYE Market.
In
that
Kisumu.
is where it happened. So right now, let's get down to what exactly is going on. And of course, Baraka Karama will be giving us more details about this fire.
Well, this is what is left for some shops here in KIBUYE Market after a fierce fire, an early morning fire, gutted down up to 7 shops here, and of course traders here are counting losses following that inferno that of course gutted down several shops, so leaving the traders counting losses estimated to millions of shillings. Just allow me to get reactions and comments from those who have been affected in this particular incident. Karibu mama. Niambie majina lako alafu ningependa unielezee moto ilianza saa ngapi na subiri kwanza. Uniambie moto ilianza saa ngapi na maybe chanzo cha moto ilikuwa nini? Kwanza majina?
Lois Polo. Mimi ni mtu ya hoteli, nafanya hapo kwa hoteli. Sasa niliingia saa 11 bado saa 1 bado dakika 15. Nikaingia nikaanza kufagia. Hao wasijana wangu pia wanaingia. Na wasijana hao yangu wao wanatoka nje. Ati moto inatoka kwa daktari. KIBUYE inaungua. Nikaambia chukweni hii maji msime. Wakasema hii maji wesimeka. Na toweni vitu nje. Nimebaki mtu yangu. Hakuna mtu ndani. Watu wametoa, mimi utaungua hapo. Hiyo ni stima. Toka nje. Nikatoka. Vitu imeungua yote. Sasa kuna namna kufanya, tunafanya kazi. Sasa imeungua yote.
Ulikuwa unafanya kazi gani hapa?
Kazi ya hoteli.
Pengine tuchukue maoni ya mmoja. Karibu. Tuambie majina alafu tuambie kuhusu hii moto. Si mara ya kwanza tunashuhudia kisa kama hiki katika soko la KIBUYE.
Mimi jina yangu naitwa Charles Siojuang. Mimi ni daktari hapa KIBUYE. Mimi nimeingia kutoka nyumbani saa hii. Na niliwacha nyumba yangu kama iko salama, lakini saa hii nimekuta imeungua na kila kitu yote. Na sijui ni nini, nasikia ati stima ndio amelipuka. Na nyumba yetu hakuna stima. Stima iko kwa jirani. Hiyo ndio kitu naweza kusungumusa. Hakuna chochote tumepata.
Pengine tuelezee pia maoni yako kuhusu hii moto ambayo kwamba mkasa moto kwamba tumeshuhudia mapema leo asubuhi.
Katika hiki sanga yale ambao kwa jina ni Obiro Kubiero, the opinion leader, Obiro Kubiero plumber ama daktari. Kile ambao ningependa niseme ni jambo la huzuni sana. Lakini leo hii tumefurahi sababu vile hawa watu they respond very quick. Sababu walikuja, kama singekuwa hawa tungepata madhara kubwa sana. Sababu unajua vile hii jumba vile imeendelea, katika hata mimi ndio niko katika duka wa 10, ukitoka hapa ukipita hapa duka yangu ni ya 10 sasa, nina deal na herbal medicinal. Lakini kama ingekuwa na hao wazima moto, nyumba nyingi zingechomeka. Kwa hivyo tungeomba serikali ya county wazidi kuweka hizi magari karibu na walete tena njia ambao tunaweza pata vizuri wakati kisanga ikifanyika, tunaweza pata masaidiko. Hiyo ndio ningependa niseme. Asante.
Tuombe maoni yako kuhusu mkasa wa moto mapema leo asubuhi. Anza na majina alafu tueleze.
Mimi naitwa George Owiti. Yale ambayo tunaweza kusema ni asante kwa county government ya Kisumu, kwa sababu wakati moto ilianza wakakuja kwa haraka na engines karibu 2. Na yale tena tunaweza kusema ni kwamba wale wafanyabiashara ambao wamepata hasara, tunawapigia pole kwa sababu ndio maisha yao yote hapa. Wawe watulivu kwa sababu ndio mali wanakula, wanapata school fees, kila kitu wanafanya hapa. So unajua sasa kama hapa ni karibu watu 10 wameathirika. Kwa hivyo tunawaomba wawe watulivu wakati wanashughulikiwa. Na ile mambo tena ningeweza kusema, watu wa county government wawaruhusu wajenge manyumba za bricks. Kwa sababu wakati hii moto ilianza, hapa ingekuwa mabati yote, ingechomeka mpaka huko mwisho. Lakini kwa bahati mzuri ni bricks ikasimamisha hiyo moto. Ingawaje sasa mambo kama ikisafanyika, lawama iko mingi. Sisi tunataka tuseme tuache lawama, tuone vile tunaweza saidia wafanyabiashara wetu, wale viongozi wetu, watu watabaka mbalimbali wenye wanaweza.
Fire at KIBUYE market, and traders are reacting to the nature of losses that they have incurred raised by this fire. Remember, it brings out questions around fires and markets in the country. And once upon a time, just in the recent past, we had President Kenyatta form a task force to just look into the Gikomba market, to be specific. Yes. That is a report that we are yet to consume, and maybe, just maybe, it could contain the solutions that are much needed when it comes to managing disasters such as this, and most especially making sure that they never happen in the first place.
In fact, just on August 19th, just literally a few weeks ago, the KIBUYE market as well went down because of fire. Before that, we had seen shops in Kibra as well that went down because of fire. So I guess that is something, as you've rightly said, Samuel, that we need to look into, and of course action needs to be taken before it's too late.
And you know what is also happening today?
What?
The third forum by the Institute of Certified Public Accountants of Kenya are currently having a meeting, or they will be having a session in Mombasa beginning today, and they're looking into the fight against graft and how that professional body can contribute to the fight against this vice. So let's cross over to Mombasa and just get to listen in to the order of events as of now, in as far as this story is concerned.
Welcome.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Can we please shake the hand of your neighbor and find out what is their name? If you don't know, I hope you're not sitting next to your colleague, are you? You're not, eh? Can you also tell them I'm excited to be here today morning? Fantastic. I think I want to appreciate the Mombasa branch leadership here, CPA John Bosco. Thank you for being here to invite us. Appreciate the Vice Chairman who is here. He's also a past chairman of this branch, and also the CEO and the Secretariat, and FCPA Rajesh, who leads our Center for Public Finance and Tax. And to all our invited guests, FCPAs in the house, fellow CPAs, any other invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning, everyone. As you've been told, my name is CPA Rose Mwaura. I am the chairman or the chairperson of the Institute, and I was elected to this position at the end of May, and I assumed the office in June of this particular year. So this is the first public finance and tax conference that I'm officiating at as the chairman of the Institute. But as you're all aware, it is our 6th Public Finance and Tax Conference. I think, as you've heard, we're really at a very interesting juncture, I would say, as a country and globally. I think you've heard all that the only sure thing in life, the only 2 things that are guaranteed in life, isn't it? That you shall pay tax and you will die. isn't it? The rest, we don't know, you know? It goes all around. And tax is important because it really allows a country to be independent. It allows a country to offer services for the public, and it really gives us pride if we're able to pay for the things that we need. I read the other day in the newspaper that there was a big concern because the American government had not renewed about 60 billion shillings, I don't know if it was shillings or dollars, must be shillings, in aid that goes to the medical sector, isn't it? But then I thought to myself, we have a 3 trillion budget, surely shouldn't that part of that 60 billion go to medical coverage? But I mean, I think that is the way we look at things. I think we've seen, as has been mentioned by CPA Rajesh, that there's been a significant change in how, in the terms of the movement of capital and labor, right? These days, capital moves where there are opportunities, isn't it? And labor also moves where there are opportunities. Of course, we're starting to see countries, especially in the Western world, and of course we've seen it in South Africa, where there's a lot of tension because of labor movement, where people are moving to where there's labor opportunities. It's creating a lot of tension politically. But really, these continue to be the key influencers. You see people are moving to low-cost manufacturing areas. People come to the special economic zones in Kenya. They go to Asia because of those opportunities and so forth. And we continue to see that the conventional business model has been, I open a shop, or I have a manufacturing plant, or I have a farm, I'm farming and I'm able to sell my produce. I sell it to the manufacturer, they manufacture something, some unga, they take that unga to the supermarket, to the wholesaler takes it to the shop, to the supermarket, and then you come and buy that, and everybody pays some taxes along the way, isn't it? But that model continues to be upended by digitalization and by technology. So for example, Amazon's annual revenue, I think all of you know who Amazon is, isn't it? Is there anyone who does not know Amazon? Right? It's one of the largest companies in the world. They're next to
So the areas of interest when it comes to the gathering or the forum that is being held by ICPAK is all about the fight against graft. And from Mombasa, they will be discussing the whole issue on tax evasion and whistleblowing. In Nairobi, they will be looking into the fight against graft and how you and I can be an asset when it comes to this fight. We've had a lot of suits even in court around tax evasion.
Right.
Of course, the Kenya Ports Authority Managing Director, David Manduku, is